Hey friends, it's just Larry, the Starship Trooper, coming at you on a Monday. All right, we made it through another weekend. I hope you guys are doing good out there. Thank you for all the kind words regarding the last little session video I put up where I was plunking on this guitar on a crude version of one of the new songs we're working on. Man, we are having so much fun. We're holed up in Paul Moog's studio and we're just trying everything, man. Paul's studio is like a dreamland, there's instruments everywhere. Everything's all set up, mic'd up at all times. So it's just, you just bop around from one thing to another and it's really great. And he's got this amazing engineer named Zach that just makes everything sound great. Headphones sound great. So we're just goofing around, just writing songs, and it's like a real band. I mean, everybody's opinion matters, and it's it's been really fun. And Anne's great to work with. Well, these are all Ann Wilson songs, by the way, that we're working on. The Girl from Heart. So we're just writing all these tunes and trying all this stuff, and man, the results have been great. I mean, it's rare that we have time to goof around with stuff. Like the session scene in Nashville is it's all about budgets and time constrictions, and people want to get stuff done quickly. They don't have time to experiment and goof around. See, all the records that we grew up listening to, I mean us, the homeschoolers, they would work on 10 songs for a year or two, We sometimes do 10 songs in a day. I mean, it's no wonder those records sound so amazing, because people had time to live with the stuff. They had time to, try things, record a version, take it home, listen to it for a couple days, then decide if you like it or not. And then go back and recut it if you don't like it, and try different things. We've got a lot of time to work on these tunes, and it really shows in the final product, when you have time to experiment and try things. That's what I would rather work on, one song for a whole week. I mean, honestly, I would love doing that. I love camping out and trying everything and exhausting every possibility before you decide this is as good as it gets. but like sadly, like I said, we rarely get a chance to do that in Nashville. I think that's why all the Nashville records sort of sound the same, you know. All the engineers mic the drums the same way because that's the fastest, most efficient way, and they know that if they don't, they're going to get yelled at by somebody who's counting the money, you know. These types of things, you know, and it's fine. You know, it teaches you how to work efficiently and quickly, but it also sort of leaves a little bit to be desired on the creative front, you see. So I'm more of the mindset that I'd like to work on one song forever and just make it perfect, make it amazing. But sadly, we never get to do that. But this week we're doing that and we're having a good time and it's really fun. So, you know, God knows what will become of that song that you know, I had in that video. We'll find out whether it even makes the album or not. But, you know, it's just fun to try stuff. And, you know, one of the comments that somebody said was like, do you ever mess around with open tunings? And I just, as a joke, I wrote, no, never. But that video is obviously an open G, you know, for any like guitar players that were fans of the Stones or Led Zeppelin, you could tell that right away. And another guy said an interesting comment that remember that video I put up a few days back where it was just me and Chris Donegan just flogging on the same 4 chords over and over and over and over. And he said, the comment was, this guy gets it. He said, nobody's too good to just keep playing the same lick over and over. You basically just play it until it's a wrap. And that's what I'm trying to show in these videos, you know. The life of the session man, it's not as glamorous as people think it is, you know. A lot of times it is just that. It's just playing something over and over that looks so basic and looks so utilitarian to the average person. But there is an art to the redundancy and making something feel a certain way, right? The little subtle differences that people are looking for, the producers and people that know, are so subtle and infinitesimal that I think a lot of people don't even understand. So yes, you sometimes you do have to just go in there and just flog the same 4 chords over and over for hours, you know. And hopefully you write a part that doesn't hurt your hands or your carpal tunnel or your wrist when you're playing it that long, because that's one of the things that will happen. See, most people don't practice that way when you're not a session man. You don't sit in your room and play the same 4 chords over and over and over for 45 minutes or an hour, because why would you? One guy said in a comment, he said, it's like watching paint dry. Yeah, it is like it's actually worse than watching paint dry. But that's part of being a session man. And here's the thing. One day you're in the studio flogging the same 4 chords for hours, and the next day you're working on a track that's got like Steely Dan chords, and you've got 2 or 3 passes to nail a solo on it, okay? So you never know what you're going to be doing. Sure, that's more exciting, you know, when you got two or 3 shots at playing a solo over a bunch of complicated changes. But that's not every day, and you just never know what you're going to be doing, you know. But I think a lot of people have the wrong idea, like what it's like or what it entails to be a session man, you know. Yes, a lot of it is extremely tedious, and I'm trying to show that on the channel. Along with all of the one take stuff that is actually a lot of fun, there is a lot of, you know, laborious, long hours, you know, playing something that to the average eye looks very simple, right? But the simplicity is what makes it great. And of course, you're not hearing what I'm actually playing along to, you know. If you could hear the vocals and you could hear the drums and the song and the bass, it would all make sense. But when you're just showing my part, sure, it sounds extremely boring, you know. See, I get all that. I know a lot of you guys get that, but that's what I'm just trying to show you. I mean, if you think that being a session man is glamorous and fun all the time, you're wrong, okay? Because it's not like that. But let's get into some guitar talk, okay? I just put a new set of strings on this because obviously they were shot. I mean, see what happens when strings get old is it's not that they get rusted or whatever, because I don't really have real strong acidity in my hands, but on the underneath side of the strings, the fret indentations get so bad that the string won't tune anymore. And these are brand new. I haven't even stretched them out or put them on. I just put them on a minute ago. But I'm obviously an open G, which from low to high is D, G, and then these three strings are the same. D, G, B, and then a high D. So really all that changes when you do open G is the two bass strings and the top string. The three middle strings are the same. So all your old tricks work. That's still an A minor, that's still a B minor, that's still a B major, you see? So if you can just use that as your home ground there, all your blues licks still work. But then you got to worry about these two bass notes being down a whole step, right? So if you're going to do a blues lick, that doesn't work. You got to go up a whole step, right? So now, the little tune that I was doing on the old video was just the typical Stonesy bar chord where you hammer on to the 4 chord, right? Very, very cliche, very common old lick that's been in a million songs. Stuff like every Stone song, lots of Zeppelin. It's Joe Walsh used it a lot. The open G. It's very popular and it's very cliche and it harkens back to the 70s for sure. But it's a cool sound, man. And I think the Stones learned it from Ry Cooder, So. It goes back a good ways, but it's a very inspiring sound, and but there is a cool trick that you can do inside of the open G tuning that I always thought was the most devilish sounding thing. If you want to play some devilish sounding guitar, you tune to an open G chord, right? And then you got you bar across the two top strings on the 3rd fret, which creates a G7 chord. And then you slide that down a half step, and then you let go. Which Jimmy Page used to great effect on. I can't remember the name of the tune, but hey, hey, mama, what's the matter here? Hey, hey, mama, what's wrong with you? Whatever that old song. I think it's on Zeppelin 3. You guys know it. Whatever. You don't have to put a million comments in the title because we all know what it is, right? But that's a very devilish sound. I mean, and you can do that in regular tuning. I do that sometimes. Like if you only involved the three, the D, G, and B, you could be like, right? If you let that open, let's say you play a G note down on the 3rd fret of the bass string, you could be like. That's a pretty cool sound, and it obviously harkens back to Zeppelin and it sounds like Zeppelin, but I was kind of goofing with that a little bit in that song that we were working on for Ann. I was going, there's a part that's got a really odd time signature. It goes like. But then I started, I just goofed with it because I just thought it was funny. But, you really can't do something like that without, it's almost too much, too Zeppelin. So I changed it to. Which is still Zeppelin-y, but at least it's not too much of a ripoff, right? But it's all been done before, people. Everything new under the sun is just a rehash of something that's already been done. But the key is finding clever ways to redo the old stuff where it sounds fresh. That's what we're all trying to do. And, that's the goal, and we all have our icons and our heroes and our shit that we stole from. And, it's just funny to think about, like, how free everything was back in those days, and how open everything was. You know, you could, like I said many times before, you could write a song called Yesterday, and nobody had ever done that before. Fertile ground for creativity it was, you know. I'm going to retell a story that I told before for anyone that, you know, because, you know, we're into 250 episodes here or something, but I'm going to say this again. I think I've said this on a previous episode, but I don't remember, but I'll tell it again because it is a great story. You know, Reese Winans, the keyboard player, is an old buddy of mine. We've done a million sessions together. I haven't seen him in ages, but we used to work together all the time. And I think he's playing with Joe Bonamassa now, right? So he's a grumpy old man, and I love him to pieces, and we always got along great. And one time we were on a session together, and I had just got done reading this book called Skydog, which is about Duane Allman, right? And there's a lot of talk about Reese in that book, right? Because he played in early versions of Captain Beyond, and he was also in really early versions of the Allman Brothers when Greg was still in LA. And then when Greg came back, they had to kick him out of the band, basically was the story. But I said to him, I saw him on the session, and I was like, Reese, man, I just got done reading this book, Skydog, man. Have you ever read it? And he said, yeah, I've seen it. Well, you know, he's setting up his gear. And I go, man, they talk about you a lot in that book. Is any of it true? And he said, yeah, it's mostly true, you know. I go, dude, do you realize how lucky you were to have been a young man plugged into the music scene, you know, in 1969 when that time was happening in music? And he was like, then he stopped what he was doing, and then he said, Tom, yes, you're right about that. And he said, we literally thought that every note we were playing was the first time that anybody had done it. And I just was like completely taken aback by that. I mean, I could feel what he was saying, and I was like, God. I see, by the time I was, you know, old enough to be comprehending music, there was already Boy George, Culture Club and things, you know. It had already been, you know, taken to the furthest extremes, you know. And like, I always felt like I was just born in the wrong time, you know. I would have loved to be a young man in 1969 playing in a rock band where you really had freedom and fresh. You could do something super fresh that nobody had done before, you know. Man, what a thing to envy, right? And I always felt that way. But anyway, alas, we are in the time we are in, and we're trying to make the best of it, right? And it's starting to rain outside now. And so yeah, that's it. And I wanted to show you the Devil's Lick, okay? Remember that one? The coolest chord of all time. There it is. 1-3-3-0-1-3 from low to high. 1-3-3-0-1-3. See, I got really comfortable in this tuning, you know, after years of doing it. I also like open G and open D a lot, but this tuning I'm super comfortable. I've played whole gigs in this tuning, you know. It's a fun tuning, and it's you know, it's not just for slide, it's for chords, and it's for really cool stuff. So think about that, and hope everybody's good out there. You know, I was gonna tell you, I got a couple things that I want to bring up on the next episode. But I'll get into that later because I don't have the proper stuff here to show you. But all right, guys, have a great day, and I'll see you soon.